Cheerio, Kyungne. So, welcome back. Hopefully, you got a chance to look at the first lesson. Um, this is how the lessons are probably going to be for a while, since we don't know that COVID will get any better until spring. So, um, just for now, think about practicing like this. And if you have any questions about it or have any advice for me, the ways I can improve the lessons, make sure to let me know. So, let's start out with our stretches. So, beginning our warm up. Ready, 10 jumping jacks. And begin. Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, ilga, yidu, ahop, yo. Turn your head left and right. Now side to side. Circle your arms. And reverse. Rotate your shoulders. And reverse. Okay. So let's rotate your hips. And reverse. Now turn your shoulders side to side. And bring your arms up, turn all the way around your waist. Now back to the center. So bring your feet 2 shoulder widths apart for knee bending, or not knee bending, coming down and up. Ready, begin. Hana, do, set, net. Hana, do, set, net. Hana, do, set, net. Hana, do, set, and stop. Go down holding your ankles, keeping your legs straight. And go to one side. Now switch. Back to the center. Let's come back up. Now knee bending. So feet 1 shoulder width apart. Coming down. Ready, Hana. Do. Set. Net. Dasa. Yasa. Yoga. Yudu. Ahop. And yo. Okay. Give yourself a quick break. Now we're going to do the long count. So ready, come down. Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, ilga, yudu, ahop, yo. And come back up. Keep your legs. And now let's go down for push-ups. So keep working on push-ups. Try to do maybe just one more each week, 2 more each week, and keep improving. So you don't have to stop at 30. If you can make it to 30, great. Make it 31, 32. Keep on going. Ready? Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, ilga, yudu, ahop, yo, Johanna, you'll do, you'll set, you'll net, you'll dasa, you'll yasa, you'll ilga, you'll do, you'll ahop, sumo. And give yourself a quick break. So once again, when you're at home, once you've reached your limit for push-ups, give yourself a quick break and come back to it. Another break, come back to it. So try to squeeze out any more push-ups you can get in. And 10 more. Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, ilga, yudu, ahop, yo. Now come back into butterfly position. Bouncing your knees. And come down and forward, pushing your knees down toward the ground. Really feel that stretch. And bouncing again. And let's stretch one more time. So come down, bring your knees down too. Okay, let's bring your feet apart. Coming down to the center. So let's just do 5 counts this time. So each count, breathe out, and come down a little bit. Hana, do, set, net, dasa. So come down as far as you can. Any farther if you can. You need to adjust your stance. Or reach even more down and forward. Try to bring your whole body down. You want to touch your chin to the floor if you can. That's the goal. And come back up. Now go to one side and stretch with both hands. Now switch. the center. This time 20 counts, so each count come down just a little bit. Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudu, ahok, yo. So 10 more counts. It's a good time to adjust your stance. And Johanna, you'll do, you'll set, you'll net, you'll dasa, you'll yasa, you'll ilga, you'll yudu, you'll ahok, sumo. Now hold it there. Come down farther if you can. Let's hold this stretch for 10 more counts. So Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, ilga, yudu, ahok, yo. And come back up slowly. Now stand up. So now start to lower yourself into a split. Get that extra stretch. And now turn to one side. Might be able to come down a little bit farther when you're doing a front split instead of a middle split. And switch. Now instead of coming up, I want you to sit down on the ground. For the sake of variety, we're going to try to mix up our exercises, so that's a way that you can enjoy stretching when you're at home. Don't just make it the same thing every time, maybe think of something to add in for each time. So we're going to practice some sit-ups. So, like that. So each time, just come up. So, let's come down on my count. Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudu, ahok, yo. So let's stand up now. So 10 isn't very many. Depending on how many you've done in the past, it might have felt like a lot or it might not have felt like a lot. I'm just going to do the 10 for the sake of the class now. And then if you want to, you can pause and do however many more you can. So this is another exercise where the more you do it, the more that you'll improve. So try to keep going and going on this one. Build strength, so it'll help you probably with some kicking, help you hold your leg up, and it's also good for strength in general. So, cheerio. Turn around, fix your forearm. Come back around. Cheerio. Kyungne. Yoso. So let's get started. What we're going to do is start out with some sitting stance punch. So last time we practiced punching on walking stance and a little bit on fighting stance. This time we're going to do sitting stance. So junpui. Now step out into a sitting stance. I'm going to step out with my left foot and punch with my left arm. So ready, hana. So middle section punch. So take a moment to check your sitting stance is right. You want your toes facing forward, knees are bent. If you're on a slippery surface, like I am, that might be a little bit tricky, but just do your best with it. So your punch is right out in front of you, elbow strike is straight back, and you're punching to the center of your body for middle section. And each time you move, you want to throw your body into it, so your belt should be moving around a little. So ready, duel, set, ne, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudo, aho, yo. Okay, so that's our sitting stance punch. Now let's switch to double punch. So 1, 2, key up on the second punch. So ready, hana, hey, duel, hey, set, hey, net, hey, dasa, hey, and switch. So same thing on the other side, double punch. Hana, hey, duel, hey, set, hey, net, hey, dasa, hey. Okay. So now we're going to switch to high section. I'm going to stop doing the key ups now because I'm afraid that I'll get all the dogs in the neighborhood barking. But continue to key up at home if you can, if it's not disrupting anybody. So, switching to high section punch now. So we're gonna just do single punch. So ready, hana, duel, set, net, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudo, aho, yo, hey! And that's at nose level, so you're punching toward the nose. And now we're gonna switch to low section. So low section for a punch is just above the belt or even on the belt, depending who you ask. So it depends on what situation you're in. Of course, when you're in a fighting situation, you never want to punch below the belt or even on the belt. You're always striking above the belt. But in a real fighting situation, anything goes. So your low section punch will depend on that. So let's do low section punch now. Ready? Hana, duel, set, net, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudo, aho, yo, hey! So paro. So if you have any questions, make sure to mention them to me. You can't do it in person, so at the end of the class, if you have any questions, just comment them and I'll be sure to answer. So let's get back into sitting stance now. So step out into sitting stance, this time with our right foot and right hand first. So ready, hana. So now what we're going to do is a triple punch combination. So high section, middle section, low section. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's practice our high, middle, low. So we've got this arm out, punching with the left arm first. So hana, duel. You can key up if you want. Set, net, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudo, aho, yo, hey! And paro. So, kenye, yosan. So that's our punching on sitting stance. There are more ways to do it, more combinations you can do. You can do low, middle, high, low. The reason that we practice doing different heights in one combination is because when we're fighting, that might be what we're trying to do. We're trying to create an opening. So if your opponent is guarding their face, you punch low, get their stomach. If they move their guard down for the low punch, you punch high, get their face. So it's all about making an opening, making it impossible for your opponent to block everything. If you do the same front kick over and over and over, your opponent is going to know exactly what you're doing, and they can block it or get out of the way every time. And once they can block it, they can strike back. So they can block and then strike. So same thing, if you're always punching middle section, they know to just have their arms out here. They can block anything you're throwing. If you always strike high section, they have their arms a little bit higher and they won't worry about guarding their stomach too much. So what you really want to do is mix up the heights, throw in kicks and punches. That makes it even more difficult. So it's all about variation in your combinations. So now let's work on some kicks. So we're going to warm up with front rising stretch. So front rising stretch looks like a front kick, but you're keeping your legs straight the whole time, just coming straight up and down. So let's practice that with the right leg back first. So hey! So ready, front rising stretch. Just bring it straight up and down. You can add a little step to the beginning to get a little bit more height. So this is all about flexing the back of your leg. This is called the hamstring. So straight up and down. So ready, hana, do, set, net, dasa. Make sure you're keeping your hands up. Yasa, ilga, yadu, ahop, yo, hey. Now switch. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Remember to keep your hands up. And for this kick, you can get even more stretch by keeping your ankle at a 90-degree angle. So don't point your foot, stretch it back. That means that there's just that little bit of extra stretch to allow your foot to move that way. So let's do it again. Ready? Hana, do, set, net, dasa, yasa, ilga, yudu, ahop, yo, hey, and paro. So that's front rising stretch. Remember, there's also side rising stretch, just like that version, but which is like that kick, but a sideways version. So you can practice that too if you want, but it's a little bit harder to do freestanding. So find a wall, a railing, or a chair. Now let's go on to our kicks. So we're going to do 3 kick combinations. So front kick, step front kick, jumping front kick, side kick, step side kick, jumping side kick. So combinations. These ones show up at every promotion for every level. So you might want to practice them. They're also just a good simple way to practice all 3 major variations of the 3 basic kicks. So let's start out with front kick, step front kick, jumping front kick. So same leg each time. This is one where you might want to try just moving forward with it if you have enough space. I don't have enough space, so I'm going to be moving back and forth. So try to do the opposite leg each time. So if I start with my left, then I do my right afterwards. So alternate your feet, and each kick is the same foot. So left, 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 right, 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 left, 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 right, right, right. Try to make it a good fast combination. It's not just 3 techniques, it's 1 combination. So moving forward, putting pressure on an opponent, and trying to strike with at least the last 2 kicks. So let's practice our front kick, front kick, front kick. Ready? Hana! Turn around. So now my right foot, I use my left foot to start out. Now I'm using my right foot. Do. Sit. Ne. Hey. Dasa. Yasa. Hey. Ilga. You do. Hey! So now let's go on to the side kick. So don't stop here if you want to. If you want to do all 10 combinations, you can. I'm stopping at 8 for the purpose of time, but if you ever want to do more than I go over in the class, by all means, go for it. So now let's do it with the side kick. So remember, side kick, you want a good chamber on your leg. So each time, make sure you have that chamber, you have that strong kick. So, ready? 1, 2, 3, side kick combination. So ready? Hana! Turn around. So on this one, remember, for the jumping side kick, it's a turning motion. So after my step side kick, I need to jump and turn. So my jump makes my body facing forward, but I want it to be sideways for my side kick. So if I jump, I turn around in the air and I kick. So all together. So I'm jumping, but then I twist and kick. So remember, your side kick is a straight out and straight back motion. So you're moving in with the kick and coming right back out. So let's practice this a few more times. So I'm on my right foot now. Ready? Hana! Do! Set! And net! Or I think this one's dasa, because I did one before. I started on the wrong count. So I'm going to switch around now, just to show you what it looks like from the other side. So this time, I'm starting on this side. I'm going to keep alternating each time. So ready? Dasa. Yasa. Yoga. And Yudo. Wait! And let's do one more, because I don't think I did very well in my last one. Wait! Okay. So now the same thing with roundhouse kick. So roundhouse kick is a little bit weird for some of these. It's not a straight line motion, it's a moving around motion. So as you kick, you're coming around, not straight out, but it still works in this 3-kick combination. So we're going to try that out a few times. So let's have right foot back this time to start out. So each time you're coming across, step kick, jump kick. Ready? Hana! So the turn is especially important on this one, just because what we're doing is we're coming around with our kick. So after our jump, we really need to turn, otherwise the kick won't have any power. If I don't turn, my foot's going to be like this. If I do turn, I can turn my body over and get a good, powerful roundhouse kick. So make sure that you put a lot of emphasis into that turn, and something that'll help you have more time to turn and get a little bit more height is really focusing on the jump as well. So don't go too short on the jump, make sure it's a really good high jump, and that'll give you more time to kick. So let's keep going. Do! Set! Net! And dasa! Yasa! Now I'm going to turn around. So 2 more. Ilga. And Gudul. Hey! So Paro. Churiat. Kingne. Yusa. So now let's go on and work on a roundhouse kick combination. So we did just do a roundhouse kick combination. We did roundhouse, step roundhouse, jumping roundhouse. But what we're going to do next is a double roundhouse. So the first one is good for demonstrations, good for practice. This one is probably better for sparring. So an important concept in sparring is double kicks. So whether that includes a tap or no tap, doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you can kick fast in immediate succession. So if I'm doing a double front kick, 1, 2, or even 1, 2. So that includes balance, good form, good chambering and rechambering of your kick. So those are all important things to have, and this is one way to practice those. And then when you can do those fast double kicks, it's also useful in sparring. So we're going to do some double roundhouse kicks. So you can include the tap or exclude the tap, depending on what you want. So the tap is just a quick setting down of your foot on the ground before your second kick. So when you do the tap, it doesn't mean that you're transferring any weight, it just means that you're touching the ground and coming straight back. So the tap is just there to help you improve on balance a little bit. It's not a complete reset of your balance, otherwise it'll be way too slow. So when I kick, 1, 2. So I just tap the ground and I'm back up again. So let's practice the double roundhouse kick a few times. So about right foot back. So ready, Hana! And you can twist back where you started, so using the same foot each time. Dual. Sit. Net. Dasa. Yasa. Ilga. Yadul. Aho. And yo. Now switch. So you notice on the double kicks, my tap is really quick. I'm trying to kick, kick. So the whole point of the tap is to help you regain your balance. If you use the tap, it'll take you a little bit longer to kick. But if you do it, it might help you get better balance. If you don't do the tap, it'll be a little bit faster, unless it takes you too long to reset your balance in the air. It's a little bit faster, but there's a little bit less power in it. So when you do the kick without the tap, it's like dividing your power into 2 parts. What you do depends. If you want 2 equally powerful kicks, you can do 50-50. If the first kick is more of a fake and the second kick is a strike, maybe a 20-80, a 0-100, just get your foot out there, then kick. But if you include the tap, you can have a little bit more power. So you can do 2 strong kicks in a row. So let's practice with the other side now. So this time using my left foot. Ready, Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Yasa. Yasa. Ilga. Yadul. Aho. And yo. Hey! Now, Haro. Kunye. So now we're going to work on our forms. So I'm going to start out with Chonji and Damgun, and then later I'll do San and Won Hyo. Then anybody with the form above that will be practicing on their own. If you want me to do a video on those forms, I can. I already have done some videos on them, and if you want me to include them in a future lesson, I can. I'm just not doing them right now because if I go through all the forms that you all are working on, it might take a little bit too long. So I'm going to do the 4 forms today. So starting out with Chonji. So ready? Junbi. So I'm going to do it with you guys for now. So remember, Chonji has 19 movements. The meaning is heaven and earth. So remember those things for your form. And just like 4-directional punch, this is one of the lower forms. So it's one of the ones that you want to master. So even if you're way beyond Chonji, still keep practicing this one because you'll be judged on it at every single promotion in the future. Everybody has to do Chonji at the promotion, or everybody who's yellow belt and above. So make sure that you're still practicing this form and trying to improve and better it. So, Junbi. Low block to the left. Ready? Up! Up! Now follow your arm around and block. Up! Punch. Low block to your left. Punch. Low block. Follow your arm around again. Long turn. Punch. Now turn, side block to your left. Punch. Long turn, side block. Punch. Side block to your back now. Punch. Long turn, side block to the front. Punch. One more punch. Set back punch. And last movement. Hey! So, Haro. Chirut. Chune. Kilso. So, I'm going to move on now. Practice that on your own a couple times, especially if it's your highest form. So, make sure you're still practicing Chonji. So, let's go on to Dangun now. So, Dangun, the number of movements is 21. And the meaning is it's the legendary founder of Korea in 2333 BC. So once again, you'll need to know that every time you're asked, especially when Dangun is your highest form. It is important to keep memorizing, keep building up all your forms, and know the information for the forms along with it. But especially if this is your highest form, you'll really need to know this because you'll probably be asked it at the promotion. So let's do Dangun now. Ready? Junbi. So, Dangun, on my count again. So ready? Hana. So knife and guarding block. And punch. All the punches are high section of this form. Punch. Block. Punch. Low block to the front. Now 3 punches. 1, 2, 3. Hey! Yeah, on the 3rd punch. Now turn around. We're going to do the double block or the box block. So, now punch. Turn around, block. So make sure you've got your front arm lower, back arm is in the rising block, and you're exploding it outwards. This is on L stance. So step forward, punch. So now we're going to do the double block combination. So low block, high block. So coming back, up. Now 3 more high blocks. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now turn around, knife hand strike on L stance. And step forward into a walking stance, punch. Now turn around one more time, left hand strike. And last movement, left key up. Hey! So, two-step motion to get back into ready stance. So ready, paro. Kungne. Pyosam. So that's Damgun. Remember, if you have questions, you can comment them. You can also consult any of the older videos that I did this summer. I did a video for all of the forms up through RA. So if you have questions or you want to learn how to do the form better, you can take a look at those too. So now I'm going to transition into the advanced section of the class. So if you're a beginner student, I recommend you can still try this stuff out. You don't have to if you really don't want to, but then again, nobody really has to use these videos. I'm just doing it so that the people who want to can keep practicing and try to keep up their skill and keep getting better during the break. But if you feel like it, I highly encourage you to keep watching and try out some of the techniques. Not all of them are like black belt level techniques or red belt level techniques. A lot of them are things that you can start doing right now if you want to, and just try them out. So I encourage you to stay with me for that. And if you're an advanced student, then I definitely want you to keep watching and keep doing the techniques with me. Cheerio. Kungne. Yes, sir. So let's get started with the advanced portion of the class. So the first thing we're going to do is a review of jumping reverse side kick, since I know I could definitely use a bit more practice on that, and you probably can too. So let's just start out with regular reverse side kick. So remember, reverse side kick, we're turning to our blind spot, so turning behind you. If my opponent is here, I'm turning away from my opponent, turning around, and side kick. So reverse side kick. Let's just do that a few times. You can do it in one straight line, alternating. You can do it with the same side each time if you want. I'll leave that up to you. So, ready, Hana, duel, set, net, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudu, aho, yo, hey! So now let's start working on including the jump in there. So remember, when you do the jump, lifting up with both legs and kicking. So when you're kicking, there are two main ways to do this. You can jump with both legs at the same time and stay in place where you are. So just the jump would look like this. So I'm just doing the jump and landing exactly where I am. It's even kick, you're rotating just around the center of your body. So if I try this, it'll look kind of like that. The other way to do it is a little bit more forward moving. So you're rotating around this leg. So if I just do the jump, it looks like this. So I'm kind of moving forward with my kick. I can try that out too. So when I do that, it looks just a little bit more forward. So you can try out whichever one you want. And just try to make sure that you can practice both. And just try to get better at the kick overall. So once again, it's a little bit tricky. Start out with a fairly low jump. So just jump a little bit and bring the kick out there. If you want to, another good way to practice this kick is just by jumping and lifting. So be ready to do that lift and kick. So all together, let's do the kick together now. And you can decide whether to do it on the same side over and over or switch. I'm going to do the same side, and if I get dizzy, then I'll switch. Duel. Set. Net. Very good. Net. Dasa. So I'm overturning a little bit, so I'm going to try to fix that. Yasa. Ilga. Yudul. Ahop. And Yul. Hey! Now switch. So now moving with the other side. So take a moment to rest. If you're doing advanced kicks like these over and over and you're getting tired, you might end up getting sloppy. So it's really better to just take a moment to get your bearings and get ready for the next few kicks if you want to. It's just like in breaking too. When you're breaking boards, if you just do rapid fire kick, 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 trying to get through it, it's not really going to work out too well. Your form isn't going to be great and your power isn't going to be great. So each time you really need to reset yourself. So kick, step back, get ready, kick. If it doesn't break, step back, get ready, kick. So it's better to sometimes go a little bit slower, but gain a bit more power in breaking or in practicing these advanced kicks. Of course, in sparring, you want to go fast, but still, that doesn't mean that you want to be sloppy. So let's practice reverse jumping side kick a few more times. So ready, hana, dual, set, net, dasa, yasa. Very good. Yasa. Yoga. Yudul. Ahop. And Yul. Hey! So, Haro. Juyut. Kungne. Yusang. So once again, that's a fairly tricky kick. You want to keep working on that, keep practicing, and eventually you'll be able to get better with it. So when there is a kick like that, that maybe is really just harder to do, and you need more practice with it, you don't want to avoid doing the kick. You don't just want to hope that it doesn't show up in the lesson. You want to practice it at home and practice it, keep getting better, and eventually you'll have no trouble with it, and you'll be able to do a lot better. So let's go on to our next technique. We're going to practice the hammer hook. So this is a hand technique. It's a combination. So 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. So let's do this one on sitting stance a few times. On this technique, you can use it to bring yourself forward a little bit. So 1, 2. So you kind of bring your feet forward with the swinging of your arms. So let's practice that a few times. You can do it stationary, or you can do it moving forward slowly. Either way, it's on sitting stance. So ready? Step out into sitting stance. Hey! So now we're doing the hammer hook. So hammer strike, hook punch. So these two techniques are following each other. You can use it to block and then strike, clear the air in front of you, keep moving forward, put pressure on your opponent. It's kind of hard to defend against all this, especially if you've got both arms moving at the same time. You do want to really focus on, think about defense during this. You've got your arms out, you might not be guarding your body as much, so just be ready to block if you have to. If you're midway through and you need to block, you can do that. So just keep that in mind, but as on its own, this is also a good defense technique, just because if you're doing this, as your opponent is trying to strike, you're blocking, striking, blocking, striking, and they're not really ready for it. So you can use this as defense and as offense. So let's practice this technique a few times on sitting stance. So ready, on one hip first. First, we'll just do the 1, 2, as this hammer strike is right in front of you. That's when you want to follow it with the hook punch. So make sure both techniques are good. Make sure you're using outside of the fist, followed by the first 2 knuckles. So hammer strike, hook punch. Ready? Hana! Duel! Set! Net! Dasa! Yasa! Ilga! Yadul! Aho! Yo! Make sure you're keeping your eyes facing straight forward on this. Don't look to the side as you strike. Your opponent is in front of you, and that's where you need to be focusing. Let's do it double now. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Ready? Hana! Duel! Set! Net! Dasa! And switch. Now double again. Hana! Duel! Set! Net! Dasa! Hey! And Karo! So, feel some. Alright, so now let's work on one more kick, and then we'll do the slightly more advanced forms. So what we're going to practice is flick kick. So you can use this in sparring. It's a useful little kick. It's not very powerful, but it is fast. And if you're in a point fighting situation, this is a great kick to just get off a point and move out of there. So remember, in point fighting, you're just fighting to get the first point, so first contact. It's typical rules. You don't want to hit too hard. You're not injuring anybody. You're just doing a tap or contact. You're not hitting below the belt. There are also certain places, usually you're not allowed to hit the face or the neck. So it's usually just the body down to the belt, or maybe the head. So that's usually what's there in point sparring. So when you're doing point sparring, you want to maybe get in a couple strikes. It's all about having the judges see it. So if you do get the first point, but the judges don't see it, the judges think somebody else scored on you first, then the point goes to them, and that's all you can do. So you still want to do combinations like 1, 2, 3, just to make sure that the judges see your points. But you don't need to worry too much about following after that. So when you are doing point sparring, it's about getting the fastest point first. Defense is also important, but if you can strike someone offensively before they can strike you, defense isn't quite as important. So in point sparring, offense and defense are super important. The really important thing in this case, since you're not worrying about lasting super long in a fight, as long as you can get the point fast, and you're not worrying too much about defending yourself from actual harm, since you're in a tournament situation and the person isn't trying to hurt you. This is when you really want to focus on those fast techniques. So this is one of them. This is called the flick kick. Looks like this. So it's not a front kick. It's not a roundhouse kick. You kind of just bring it up and kick. So you notice what I'm doing is it almost looks like a roundhouse kick. I'm hitting with the instep or the back of my foot. In this case, with the roundhouse kick, you do want to hit with the instep. This time, it doesn't really matter what you're hitting with because your goal isn't to have a powerful kick, it's to have a fast kick that makes contact. So you're just bringing it up. It's like almost like a reverse roundhouse kick. Roundhouse kick, I'm going this way. Flick kick, I'm going this way. So you just want to bring it up and kick, bring it up and kick. So when you bring up your leg, it looks like this. This is your chamber. Kick, kick. So quick strike to the stomach is what you want to go for on this. So let's practice that a few times. I'll let you just stay stationary for this one and kick with the same foot each time. So ready? I'm going to start out with my right foot. Ready? Hana! So focus on making this a fast kick. As soon as you hear my voice, that's when you kick. Don't wait. Your opponent isn't going to wait for you to get your kick out. You have to be fast. If they're punching, they're not going to wait for you to block. You have to be fast. You have to react to what they're doing. You have to find out what they're doing and then react to it, all in the time that it takes them to do their technique. So, good fast footprints. So ready? Hana! Duel! Set! Net! Dasa! Yasa! Yoga! Yudu! Aho! Yo! Hey! And switch! So, same thing, just a nice, quick kick. Hana! Duel! Make sure to keep your hands up. I know I talked about earlier, it's more important to be offensive and fast in point sparring, but of course you still need to defend yourself. You don't want the other person to score on you, so always have your hands up and be ready to defend and block if you need to. Ready, set, net, dasa, yasa, yoga, yudu, aho, yo, hype, and paro. So, kunme, yasa. So now let's review two more of our forms. So now we're going to work on Dosan and Won Hyo. So if you have a form above that, once again, I'm going to have you practice on your own for now, just because I don't have time to go through all of them. But if you're on Dosan or Won Hyo, I recommend you practice it with me and then practice it on your own as well. Everybody needs to be practicing their forms. Don't forget your form. Don't wait until a couple of weeks before the promotion to start learning your form. Maybe you learn it at first and then you forget it, and then you'll have to relearn it right before the promotion. It's never a good idea. You want to have all that time, however many months between promotions, to practice and keep getting better and keep building on it. So let's work on Dosan to start out. So ready, Jumbi. So Dosan, outer forearm, middle section block, and punch. The two-part movement to start out. Hana. Hey! And make sure each movement is crisp and fast. So now a two-step movement. 1, 2. When we switch. So ready, up. Now we're stepping forward. Knife hand guarding block. Up. That's also a two-step motion. So from here, you're stepping up and out. Now step forward, knife hand strike. Up. Now step forward, spear hand. Up. Now flip the spear hand, moving into a back fist. Up. And back fist. Turn around, block punch. And step, block punch. Now, from here, we've got our stepping out motion. So, what we're going to do is another two-step motion. So from here, we're stepping out at an angle, up, with our wedge block. So make sure if someone has their hands on your throat, something like that, you're bringing your arms up and wedging outwards. So don't just put them up. Make sure you're going through the full motion. Kick, punch, punch. Now wedge block. Kick, punch, punch. Now reset this left leg into a rising block. Up. And step forward, rising block. Turn around, knife hand strike on sitting stance. And two-step motion and knife hand strike. Hey! Haro. So, Gilsan. So that's Dosan. Remember, Dosan has 24 movements. So the sequence from Chonji, Dangun, Dosan is 19, 21, 24. So between the first two, plus 2. Between the next two, plus 3. And then for the next form we're doing, which is Won Hyo, it's plus 4. So Won Hyo has 28 movements. So the meaning of Dosan is it's a pseudonym of the patriot An Cheng-ho. So once again, you'll need to remember that stuff for your promotions. Now let's go on to Won Hyo. So Won Hyo has 28 movements, like I just said, and it's the name of the noted monk who introduced Buddhism to the Silla dynasty in 686 AD. So once again, you'll need to know that for your promotion. Let's begin. So, Gunbi. This one we use ready stance A. So our left hand is over our right hand. Get rid of these. So left hand is over our right hand, and our right hand is in a fist. Left hand is in a palm. So, ready? Hana! So we're doing our double block. Now next movement, pull it in, and swooping down into a knife hand strike. Or, yeah, this is a knife hand strike. It's an inverted knife hand strike. So, duel. Set. So side punch. Remember, on your side punch, I'm going to do it this way just to show you. From here, I need to bring this fist all the way back to my hip. So I'm not bringing it across my body, I'm bringing it to my hip. So from here, up. And this other hand goes into an elbow strike straight back. So, starting out again. 1, 2, right. And now, fourth movement, up, up, up. Now the next movement is step up and bring up your leg into a ready position. Now, side kick, land to a knife hand guarding block. Now, 2 more knife hand guarding blocks, so 1, 2, spear hand. And the key up is optional on that one. You can key up if you want. So now we're going to turn around, same thing as we started with. Up, 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 up. Now coming back, we've got a 2-step motion. So step up and out with your left, block with your right. So once again, 2-step motion, up. So we're using, we've got our left foot forward, we've got our right foot in the block. So now step forward, punch, and it's a reverse punch. Now reset that punch into a block, inner forearm middle section block. Now kick, punch. Now step forward, or not step forward, but come forward to a fighting stance. Side kick. And double guarding block. So it looks like this. Double forearm guarding block. And now step to the other side. Hi! Haro. Shiga. Kyungne. Hisan. So that's our Won Hyo form. Make sure to keep practicing it. Once again, if you have questions about any of the forms or anything in one of these lessons, let me know. You can use a comment. You can also take a look at the instructional videos I have, where I tried to put almost all of the information that I have on these techniques into those videos. So if you're having trouble with any aspect of it, you can consult those. Otherwise, have a good week. Make sure you keep practicing. The assignment for this week, other than shadow boxing, which is what you should be doing every week, since we're not doing sparring in class, is working on your forms. If you have time, try to do everything in the lesson, just 2 to 3 times on each side, 5 times on each side. Shouldn't take you very long, and it's great practice. So I'm going to try to assign a different thing each week. So I want you to know that the things that are assigned every week are some forms, practice on your forms, practice shadow boxing, and practice everything in the lesson just a couple times. So you don't have to go through the whole lesson 2 or 3 times in the week. So just do each technique a few times. Maybe on Monday you watch the video and do the lesson. On Tuesday you do the first 2 techniques that we work on. Wednesday you do the second 2. On Thursday you do the third 2. So if you split it up, it shouldn't be too much work. Yeah, just try to fit in that practice whenever you can. Do a stretch while you're watching TV. If you think of it, go for it. Most of you guys are in school, and I'm assuming that almost all of you get your homework done. Um, and uh, if you get your homework done most of the time, it means that you can probably also make time for Taekwondo. Because for schoolwork, you make sure that you have time. You know that it has to get done, so you do it. If you can treat Taekwondo in that same way, if it's that important to you and you really want to keep improving and doing better, you can always make time for it. So just try to increase the time that you practice since we don't have regular lessons, um, and try to keep working Taekwondo throughout this whole winter break. Cheerio! Kyungne, Ilsung. So hopefully you guys have another good week and stay safe. Thank you for training.